Morning. Welcome to my channel. If you are watching the replay, I hope you are having a nice day so far. Today, we are going to have an African folk tale. Yes, we are going all over the world. Today is the 31st of December 2020, the last day. So, listen carefully. We will have an exercise at the end of the story. So, an African folk tale. Some folk tales tell of valiant deeds performed by great heroes. An example is the Japanese story of Tokyo and the Sea Monster. Actually, I love those films, didn't you? Comes out of the water. Anyway, others, like the Welsh tale of the silver cows. Remember, we had this last time? The silver cows jumped in the water and they turned into water lilies, silver water lilies. Remember the story of Hugh? Yes. The silver cows and the water lilies explain how things came to be. A third group tells how the weak and helpless defeat the strong and powerful. Always a little girl who's the strongest, the youngest. This does not always happen in real life. It's just a folk tale. But it does happen in folk tales. Because what is folk tales? Folk tales is a story that goes from person to person, by mouth. This is why it's called a folk tale. Usually sitting around at night around the fireplace telling stories. And usually there's an ounce of truth in a folk tale or a legend, right? You know the old saying, there's no smoke without fire. So, it does happen in folk tales, as in this East African story of the Maskini and the Tajiri. Every evening, the Tajiri means a rich man, sat down to a hearty meal prepared for him in his own kitchen. The food that was left over would have been enough to feed a whole family, but the Tajiri was extremely stingy. We know some people like that, correct? The leftovers from his table went to fatten his pigs so that he would have the benefit of them later. Waste not, want not. The Maskini, or poor man, so Maskini means poor man, Tajiri means rich man. So the Maskini, or poor man, lived on a simple fare. He owned a goat that gave him milk and cheese, but his evening meal was usually nothing more than a bowl of porridge. However, he found a way to make it more enjoyable. He would eat his meal while hidden outside the Tajiri's kitchen, where wonderful smells came wafting through the open window. They made the Maskini's mouth water, and the porridge seemed like a feast. The power of mind over matter. One evening, the Tajiri decided to take a walk in his garden in order to work up an appetite for dinner. Oh, poor man. He saw the Maskini sitting outside the kitchen window. As the Tajiri watched, he saw the Maskini inhale deeply, and a blissful look came over his face. How dare he help himself to my smells? Even his smells he didn't want to share. Oh, something about, this stingy man. So how dare he help himself to my smells? Thought the Tajiri, and he ordered his servants to seize the Maskini and escort him to the village jail for smelling the food. Hmm, strange laws. Anyway, we are in Africa. A few days later, the Maskini was summoned before the court that met weekly in the village center, where the case would be decided on its merits. The Tajiri explained that the smells from the kitchen belonged to him. Really? You want the air? And the Maskini was depriving him of them. So maybe the Maskini should not breathe. As payment, he demanded the Maskini's goat, which was the only thing he owned. When asked to respond, the Maskini, looking very forlorn, could only stare at the ground and shuffle his feet, afraid to speak. The village elders, who had been hearing the case, now withdrew to the shade of a nearby baobab tree. After a brief discussion, the village chief came forward and addressed the crowd. The Maskini did help himself to the smells from the Tajiri's kitchen, she said, as a matriarch. However, he did not receive any food from him. We have concluded, therefore, that the Tajiri should not be given the goat. However, in fairness to him, we believe he should have the right to smell the Maskini's goat whenever he wants. A sense of humor. Can you imagine smelling the goat? Oh well, have you ever smelled a goat? The Tajiri was furious and left without saying a word, but the people of the village approved the court's decision. They felt that justice has been done. Now comes the quiz. Have you been listening? Bodo Guyevatama. Did Damaskini put up a valiant defense in the court? Was Damaskini defending himself? No. What is the meaning of hearty as it is used in the narrative? What is the meaning of a hearty meal? A big meal, a meal that fills your stomach, right? A hearty meal. The story says Tajiri was stingy. How does it show this? He would not share the leftovers, he would give it to the pigs, right? How did the Tajiri fare when he went to court? He got to smell the goat. What would have happened if the kitchen window had been closed? I guess the Maskini could not smell the delicious smells coming from the kitchen. How did the Tajiri know that the Maskini was enjoying the smells from the kitchen? How did he know? He went for a walk and saw him sitting under the window, correct? Why did the Maskini need an escort? Escort? Maybe he was too fat to walk by himself? I don't know. I don't remember. Do you remember the story? Why? Did the Maskini have to go to court? Yes. What does it mean to say the case would have been decided on its merits? What does it mean to decide something on its merits? That means how much does a complaint weigh? And the complaint was totally silly. I mean, the Maskini took a deep breath. The air is free. How did the Maskini take anything from the Tajiri? He did not. He just breathed the air, correct? Why do you think the Maskini looked forlorn? Because he was going to lose his only means of food, his only possession, one single goat, right? He had nothing else. And what was his sin? Taking a breath. What sort of person might become one of the village elders? What sort of person do you think would become an elder? Possibly a very logical, intelligent, older person with a lot of experience in life. To whom did the chief direct her remarks? To the village, correct? What is the meaning of concluded as it is used in the narrative? Concluded, came to a decision, finished, concluded, correct? How might the crowd have shown that it approved the court's decision? Well, there are many ways that they could have shown. They could have clapped or cheered or said, yay, aye. There are many ways that we show approval. Smile, nod, many ways. President Lincoln gave a famous speech at Gettysburg in 1863 that begins 7 years ago. Why do we refer to it as a Gettysburg Address? Because he gave it on Gettysburg after the battle, correct? One reason is that address suggests something grander and more important than a speech. Anyone can make a speech, but you have to be someone important and the occasion a special one for it to be called an address. As an adjective, elder means greater than another in age or seniority. So in this village, we have a female elder. Most of the time I have seen a male elders, unless it's a matriarch. If we refer to someone greater in age or seniority, we use eldest. I have an elder brother named Mark. He is not the eldest. Sheila is the eldest of 7 children. That means she is the oldest. Not that elder and eldest are used only when referring to persons, but older and oldest can refer either to persons or things. We turn many words into their opposites simply by changing the prefix. Inhale means to breathe in. Inhale. Inhale. It is made of a prefix in, meaning in, and the root formed from the Latin word halare, meaning to breathe. By knowing that the prefix X means out, you can turn inhale into its opposite and make a word that means to breathe out. What is that word? X means out. Latin word halare. Exhale means to breathe out. But our dear Maskini was inhaling the delicious smells coming from the kitchen. This is the end of today's folklore, and this is the end of folklore for 2020. How was your year, 2020? Quite eventful, wasn't it? I am positive we will have an absolutely wonderful 2021. I wish everyone a happy new year, health, prosperity, blessings to you and your family. Goodbye for now. I will see you in my usual diamond painting this afternoon. Have a wonderful day and a big party tonight. Goodbye.